Blog Talk Radio.
Life is kind of a funny thing. If you believe it, you can have it. There's no stopping what luck can bring. There's no rules, everything is magic. If you believe in luck, life is easy enough.
Hello, and you are tuned into With the Contest Queen, where the winning begins, with myself, Carolyn Willman. It is Monday, February 22nd, and this evening we have Kathy Partek. She is the blogger of Intentional Winning with us today. I'm so excited to have her here. But before we talk to Kathy, it couldn't be the Contest Queen without a contest. Let me tell you about what we're giving away on this episode. Amy Kincaid has generously donated a WINS organizer. Now, this is a great time of year to win it because you've got it for just the first of the month and for the rest of the year to organize all your wins for 2010. And her company is Savvy Sweepers. Now, you have to listen to the end to find out how to win. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Kathy. And Kathy is the blogger behind Intentional Winning. And I found her via Twitter and Facebook, and I just loved her law of attraction take on winning. And so I had to have her as a guest. Now we're going to go a little bit off format today, and I'm going to let Kathy tell us a little bit more about herself.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so tickled to be here.
So how did you start? Start with the history of how you got to Intentional Winning, because it's a fascinating blog. And just a reminder to all the listeners, all the URLs we talk about in the show will be in my next newsletter. So if you miss any of the links, you will be able to get them from the Winning Edge, the next issue of the Winning Edge.
Well, intentional winning is, winning prizes is a very cool and it's very fun. But intentional winning is more about winning in life, and it's about balance. And for me, I have a 25-year, God, it's more now. It's funny, it stays 25, but then years go by and I go, no, now it's maybe 30. I have this long history of winning on the radio primarily, and I've won other contests like, writing contests or other kinds of skill contests, but it's primarily been winning on the radio. And through the years, I've won trips. I've been to New York, I've been to Mexico, I've been to Hawaii, all these different places around the country. And people would ask me, how do you do this? And my answer was always the same: I intend to. And I would just put my sign on something, and I would say, I intend to win that, and I would win it. And so that's really where the phrase intentional winning came from, and it's really victory by design. It's not as much chance as people think it is, and I do think you have to believe you can do something before you can achieve it. And that's part of visualization and the law of attraction, and all of that comes together.
Wow. So, yeah, those words are really important.
They are, and I didn't even realize it. Probably for several years that I would say, well, I intend to, and I said it very flippantly, very half-heartedly, and one day I said it, and the person sitting across the table from me was just sort of in a daze, and I thought, is she not listening? She goes, Kathy, that's you. That's what you do. It's intentional winning. You truly believe it, and you intend it, and it manifests. I hate to say it because it's a little bit, humiliating, but I have won in other people's names in situations where I've won something for myself, let's say concert tickets, or I met Sammy Hagar, and I wanted my girlfriend to go with me. And so I called and I won as her. And people are like, how can you do that twice? And it's like, well, I was Kathy yesterday, and today I'm Julie, and so Julie actually came with me with her ID and all of that, but is that fraud?
We're not supposed to be engaging in criminal activity.
Yes. We got a bad connection. No.
Yeah, we got to go back. No, but it's but I understand the concept. If you've put it out there, it's the law of attraction. You've intended it and you're focused on it, and you're bringing it in.
It really is, and it really does work that way. I can go to an event where they're selling raffle tickets, and I can say, you know what, I'm going to win a raffle tonight. And sure enough, my ticket will be drawn. I went to one event where I had a lot of tickets where you like buy your height, you know, where and you find the tallest person in the room, and for $20 you get their height and tickets. And I won 16 prizes that night. And I'll tell you, I was mortified. I was giving them away. I was so embarrassed. But, you know, you have to be careful what you wish for.
That's a great story. I love that.
Yeah.
You're
it
right.
Was very
and
fun.
You're 6'2", right?
No, I'm not. But the friend I was with is actually 6'4", and he and I said, you know, I'll take his height for $20. And it was not a huge gathering, but there were 300 or 400 people there. I mean, it wasn't like 10. You know.
Oh, wow. So you're, you know, to win that many in that big a crowd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I got to the point where they were calling my number, and I wasn't answering right away. You know, and people were looking at me, and they were like, "You have it, don't you?" And I'm like, "Would you want it?" I mean, I was giving them away. We gave away 8 of them because it was just so
embarrassing.
Yeah, it was.
So when did you start when did you actually take it from we're having a conversation at the table, or you're talking to a friend, to, hey, I'm going to blog about this and I want to share this passion I have with other people so that they can take what I do and do it for themselves?
It was probably in 2007, and that was when we had this conversation, and I really started seeing that, you know, intentional winning was a way of life for me. You and I know, and you don't know the whole story, but you know a little bit about my best win ever was winning my husband on the radio.
Oh, we're going to tell that whole story later.
Yes. And so, you know, as I started thinking about it, and I started thinking, you know, for a lot of people, they could say, you know, I won this really cool thing or I won that, but I started to notice that, you know, this was really a part of my whole life. This became a part of, you know, not only my marital status in this case, but, you know, my social life. I was going out and I was doing things because I was winning tickets to events, a Valentine's Day event when I was single. I wanted to go meet somebody, and I thought, you know what, these tickets were like $200 to this upscale event. I thought, you know, I don't have that money. I'm gonna win my ticket, and I did. For me and a girlfriend, and we went. We both met people that we dated for, you know, a little while, and I just noticed that it was winning, but it was becoming a part of my life in a different way. I wanted to learn to ski, so I won new skis and boots and poles and lessons. So it was more than winning a CD or winning a dinner out.
Wow. So
and that's why I started saying
it's your whole life. It's every aspect. So
yeah.
So I'm assuming you're using it in your career also.
Absolutely. Just last year I entered Intuit. They had a small business contest, and I, you know, got my friends and family to go, you know, vote for me, and we won a $1,000 business grant. And $500 of that was like a cash prize, which got us to a trade show that we just attended that, you know, we were struggling to get to. So, yes, you do. It becomes a part of really of who you are and how you live, and it's about balance. You know, and that's probably why that basket win at that charity event was so embarrassing, because it was way out of balance.
Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to have it, you want to intend, but you don't want to go crazy. You don't want to have the 16 prizes at the 300 people event.
Well, and you know, then you go from there, and this is how I think. I don't know if this is how everybody thinks, but I look at that and I go, you know, that's true abundance. And when you have abundance on a scale that's beyond what you need or what you're enjoying, that's when you share it. And that's where philanthropy comes in. You know, granted, it's 16 gift baskets, and you gave away 8. You know, there was a woman sitting there was a doggy, like a pet gift basket, and she really wanted it, and, you know, and she said, I really want that basket, and I said, you can have it. Not because I'm this great person, but because when you're looking at balance and you're looking at giving back, when you now have more than you need, you know, then you give. And that's, again, where balance comes in, and sharing this information and telling people you can win. You absolutely can win. You can bring a product to market. You can succeed in your career. You can go to Italy if you want. You know, and just encouraging an attitude of I can versus, oh, gosh, I don't know.
Well, a lot of Negative Nillies, I was sitting at a convention one time, and two ladies at the table were very glum in the mouth, and they said, I don't know why we come to these events. We never win. So I was thinking, no, you won't. You won't win.
And that's my motto. Anybody who knows me knows. And my son will tell you, my 6-year-old son, whatever you think, you're right.
But it's the same. They were intending not to win.
Exactly.
And you would sit there with me and intend to win. So you're
absolutely.
getting whatever you're putting out there.
It's true. It's true. The proof is in the pudding, for sure.
Now, I just want to ask, let's go to, like, we hinted at it, but I do want to talk to you about this because this is how we started chatting. Originally, it's because you won your husband on the radio, so you have to tell us the whole story because this is too good. How do you win a husband? Like, you didn't actually win him physically, right? They didn't say, hey, we got Bob. He's up for the prize. The 9th caller through will win Bob.
No, but it was sort of like that in the reverse. His name is Dave, and I had been living and working in a new city, and I had been at my job about 6 months, and I was ready to sort of branch out and start meeting people and getting out of work mode and into social mode. And I was listening to the radio one afternoon, and they said, hey, we've got Dave. He's dating. He's desperate, and he's got an extra ticket to whatever concert it was. And I was like, well, that'll be fun. Maybe I'll go to that concert with Dave. And my coworker was like, you're really going to do this? I'm like, yeah. Well, Dave's story is that he called the radio station. He did have an extra ticket, and this is the honest-to-God truth that makes this story so fun, is he was actually dating a rocket scientist at the time. And she was on a top-secret mission in Russia, like a last-minute, true, honest-to-goodness mission. And so he thought she was standing him up for the concert, and that's why he called the radio station. So I called in. He thought he was going to play a dating game, so he had questions prepared. And when he called in and he had his questions ready to go, something happened in Radioland, as you know, anybody who works in show business knows, something can happen. He didn't get to play the dating game. I was the first one who called in, and we just started this dialogue back and forth. And what's so fun about this story is that Dave recorded it. So we actually have the recording of our very first meeting on the radio. And the DJ was so fun. He went back and forth, and he's like, you know, so Kathy, what do you think? And Dave, what do you think? And it was this real matchmaking thing. And we went to the concert, and we decided, well, we, meaning me and the mouse in my pocket, decided that I didn't want to date Dave right at that time. But I told him, I said, I really like you, and if you can just be my friend, truly, without this ulterior motive that guys go through with, if she hangs out with me, she'll know she loves me, and, you know, who knows? And we did. We became friends, and he went on to date other people, and I dated other people, but we were always the person calling each other when our heart was broken or something was going on, or, you know, we were on camping trips together with other people. We just stayed friends, and all this while, everybody was saying to us, why aren't you two together? Why aren't you two together? And lo and behold, one day we looked at each other and went, why aren't we together? And we've been happily married for going on our 9th year this year.
Yeah.
And so the story is that I won him on the radio because I have this history, and here we are.
So if you've been married 9 years, how long were you friends first?
We were friends for 6.
6, okay. So really, you've been together in one capacity. You've had a relationship.
Since 1996.
Since 96, yeah. So I was going to say 15 years.
Yeah.
So that's really
cool.
cool.
We're going on our 9th year, yeah. Now you met your husband on the radio.
No. I won tickets to the Ice Capades. I won a set of 4 tickets.
Yeah.
And I thought everybody liked the Ice Capades. Apparently nobody liked the Ice Capades. And I must have asked 30 people to go with me, and they all said no. And Craig was a business colleague at another company. We had actually the exact same job at 2 different companies. And if ever I was out of stock or something, I would phone him and say, okay, here's my customer, here's the price I quoted, do you guys have this in stock? And he's like, yeah. And so he would sell at the same price so we wouldn't, be gouging. So one day I was talking to him, and I had these tickets stuck to my bulletin board, and I said, you know, I got tickets to the Ice Capades, you want to go? And he's like, sure. He's the first person that said, yeah, like, ask 30 people. And you know what? I've been so naive sometimes because years later, when my daughter was 3, so this was 4 years ago, we won tickets to Stars on Ice.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, how romantic! We can go back to the the ice show." He's like, "Man, I don't like the ice capades." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Duh, I liked you."
That's what I was going to say. I liked you, but your story lends itself to this has happened to me where I've won tickets to things and couldn't get people to go with me even for free. And I think that's so funny because, on one hand, who cares what it is? If it's free and it's a night out and it's fun, let's go, But I won tickets to, of all things, you're not going to believe this, Peter Gabriel and Sinead O'Connor.
I love Peter Gabriel. I paid for tickets to Peter Gabriel.
I'm telling you, I could not get people to go with me. And my roommate, finally, she was sitting home on the couch in her sweats, and I said, come on, come with me. And it was hands down the best concert I've ever seen in my life.
He's great.
I know. It's a show, the music, everything was amazing. But I've had other situations where I've won things and people are like, no, I don't think so. Come on. Don't you have any sense of fun? Let's go.
Mind you, the other thing I'd like to talk to people about when we talk about it, I like to enter for things that are not in my normal realm of experience, things I wouldn't normally do in this everyday life of mine. So we live in the Toronto area. So I've won tickets to The Rock, which is our lacrosse team. We went and watched indoor lacrosse. It's crazy in there. It's fun. But it's not in my normal experience. And it was neat. And I love doing things like that. It's something that's not normal in the And if anybody can get tickets to the soccer in Toronto, the BMO Field with the Toronto FC, the soccer fans in Toronto are nuts.
Well, and that's just part of broadening your horizons and opening your mind. And I think it's part of people who tend to draw excitement and good and free and that kind of thing to them, they typically tend to be open-minded that way, and they are a little more adventuresome, and they want to step outside of the box. I mean, exactly like you said, I want to do things that I don't normally do. And what better way to find out if you like it than for free? Test drive it. And anybody can win. I so wholeheartedly believe that if they believe they can.
Yes, I tell people that. Half the hobby's in your head.
I think more than half.
Well, I think the other half is you have to buy a ticket. The old cartoon.
The
guy praying to win the lottery, and finally God says to him, meet me halfway, buy a ticket.
Yes, yes. Yes, it's absolutely right. You have to play to win. And that's true in life, getting back to intentional winning in life. You can't get the job of your dreams if you don't learn the skill you need to learn and then apply for the job. You can't meet the person of your dreams if you don't get out and do the things you love to do so that you meet somebody who loves to do the same things you love to do. And for Dave and I, it was country dancing. He wanted to learn to country dance, and I already knew how, so that was what I was listening to, a country radio station.
So where are you located?
We're in California.
Oh, that's...
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as much as he's not in Texas.
No. As a matter of fact, not only California, but I was living and working in San Francisco at the time. And there was a club down in San Jose, notorious, very, very famous. Anybody who lives in the Bay Area knows the Saddle Rack. And the Saddle Rack is now in Fremont. It had been moved, sold and moved. But it was, South Bay, it was easily, 80 miles. 85 miles from where I lived in San Francisco to go down there and dance. But, that's what I was loving to do, and that's what he wanted to learn to do. And that's part of how we became such good friends, is we had this one thing in common, that we both really loved. And, even to this day, that's a huge date night for us, is to go country dance.
Oh, that's so fun.
It is fun.
So you got to win tickets to the Stampede. And win a trip to Texas.
Oh, that was, on a smaller scale. I don't know exactly how this happened. We do like country music, but we don't live on a ranch. We don't have a farm, none of that. But my son, who is now 6, when he was God, he was 18 or 19 months old. Everything he was doing was bull riding. He was, everything he could ride was a bull. He was tying things on the dog. It was a bull, everything. And I was like, where is this coming from? So when he was 4, they were giving away, the PBR was on tour, and they were giving away tickets. And I was on my way home from work, and I was like, I'm going to win those tickets this weekend. And I started thinking to myself, okay, well, I need to win them tonight because I have a really busy weekend, and I can't be tied to the radio all weekend. So I got home from work, and I told my husband, I'm like, I'm winning PBR tickets tonight. He's like, huh? Yeah, I'm taking Mason to see the Bulls. So sure enough, I turned the radio on, and I'm, doing dishes, making dinner, whatever, and it's time to call. I didn't hear exactly what it was, but, I have what I call winning listening. It's like supersonic winner listening, because I can hear and I know when it's time to win something on the radio. So I dial the number, and a guy answers the phone. He's like, hey, you win, you got this PBR tickets. And I was like, whoa, that's great, first try. And I said, now am I in to win the grand prize, what are those skyboxes? Parties. And he's like, oh, no, that's not what this is. This is just plain old tickets. I was like, oh, no, I don't want to win. He goes, what? I go, no, I want to begin to win the grand prize. And he goes, really? I go, yeah. He goes, okay. So I hung up. So Dave comes in. He's like, did you just win? I said, well, I won, but I didn't win. And he kind of shakes his head, and he goes away. So I'm listening again, and I hear it's time to call again, and I call again, and I win again. Only this time it's not PBR tickets. It's some You, Me, and Dupree movie prize pack. I said to the DJ, I go, oh, no, I don't want to win this either. He goes, did you just call? I go, yeah. I go, I want to win the PBR tickets with the grand prize. I want to be in to win the skybox. And he's like, you've got to be kidding me. You really, 2 times in a row, you've gotten through and won. And I go, oh, yeah. I go, it happens all the time. He was just dumbfounded. He goes, well, can I play your son on the radio because he's really, his yeehaw was really cute. I was like, yeah. So I'm sitting there, and now Dave has come downstairs, and he's sitting on the couch with me, and he's like, okay, now you're freaking me out. He's like, this is a little weird. And I said, no, we're going to win tonight. So sure enough, finally they played the sounder, and now I'm calling on the home phone, and he's calling on his cell phone, and I won. And the guy, when I told him it was me, he was like, I can't believe this. He said, I've been in radio for 30 years. This has never, ever happened to me. And I said, well, you just have to intend it. He goes, but this is bizarre. He goes, you called in. You were like the right number caller. He goes, I don't get this. And I said, it's just a landline, and I just called it, but I won. And that, Dave was just like, he says, even me, I know you. I can't believe you did this tonight. And I did. We went to see the Bulls, and, Mason had a ball. Unfortunately, now he's past that. So, but it really can happen when you put your mind to it like that.
Wow. I mean, I only have one story where I got through a lot. It was kind of my height of contesting insanity, where I was sitting at the computer and I had the breastfeeding ring around me. So I was breastfeeding my daughter, and I'm clicking away, and I got the radio on in the back.
Yes.
And it's 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning. And they do the sounder to call in, and you qualify to win a trip to Florida.
Okay.
And I phoned in, and he goes, you're caller 1. I'm like, oh, and I hung up. And I thought, I'm going to try again. And I called in. He goes, you're caller 2. I'm like, what?
Oh, you were the only person calling.
And I called in. I was all 6 callers. He goes, did you call other callers? I go, I was all 6 callers. I'm thinking, okay, nobody's listening on Sunday morning. And right then, and I don't know if you have this tied in with your intentional winning, you get, I call it the knowing. I just knew at that moment we were winning the grand prize.
Yes, I do know.
It was being drawn the next morning. After that, I just knew. I thought, we're winning. And I just knew we were going to win. And sure enough, the next morning, 7:10, the phone rings, and it's the DJ on the phone, the morning guys, from the weekday morning guys.
Uh-huh.
And my husband, I put his name in because it was a guy's getaway, but he had to take me.
Right. Right.
So we went to Florida, and he got to be a judge in the Miss Hawaiian Tropics Bikini Contest.
Oh, how fun. I know exactly what you mean about knowing you're going to win. I won a trip to Las Vegas a year ago, January, and it was like that. As soon as I qualified, I knew. I told the DJ, I'm going to Las Vegas. And he was laughing. He's like, oh, yeah, of course you are. Have fun, and, just like they say to everybody. And I hung up the phone, and I told Dave, I said, we're going to Vegas on this trip. And the morning that they did the call, I called the radio station because I was like, I know I'm winning this trip. I know I am. And I said, have you given away, the Las Vegas trip yet? And they're like, no, we're getting ready to do it in a few minutes. I said, oh, good. I thought I missed it. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I go, well, I'm your winner. And he goes, what do you mean you're my winner? He goes, what's your name? I said, well, I don't want to jinx it. So the other DJ, the woman, goes, well, what city are you in? I said, oh, I'm in Auburn, California. There's dead silence. And she says to the guy, she goes, our winner's in Auburn. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to stand by. And I hung up the phone, and 3 minutes later they called me back. And they actually sent me the MP3 of the phone call because I told them, I said, people will not believe me when I tell this story. But he was like, you are freaking us out. He said, how did you know? I said, and you're exactly right, Carolyn. You just do. You just know.
Yeah, I wish I knew more, though. Like, I'd like to know when my big screen TV is going to show up, because our TV died. We have more than one, because if we had no TV, I would have been out buying one right away. But, the old one died, and I just refused to buy one because I think, what's going to happen? The minute I buy one, I'm going to win one. So now I'm waiting, and there's this, hole in the family room where the TV used to be.
Be patient because springtime is coming, and springtime is, that's the big time for fundraisers and promotions and, all these different barbecues in May, in the grocery stores, in liquor stores. I mean, those are the big things. So be patient, it's coming.
I know. I just think it's funny, though. I'm just stubborn. I just refuse to go buy the TV. I am going to win a TV. I don't care how long I have to wait. I'm winning a TV. And I'm going to hang it on my wall.
That's it. When I say I'm going to win something, he knows. He's like, all right. But like you, sometimes it takes a little longer. Regis and Kelly's prize, their trip in the morning has eluded me. They've called me, and I've missed the calls. One was a dead cell phone battery, and the producer left a voicemail message. And the other one was they called, and I wasn't home. And so I am bound and determined to win a trip for Regis and Kelly. But I did win a trip to New York to the Regis and Kelly show. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, I can't complain. I mean, I've won some really fun trips and some, some of the things I've won. I have a friend who I have befriended in the radio industry, and it was so funny. We had sent in these postcards, and if they called your name, you had to call in and describe your postcard so they knew it was you, and you won $100. And I had sent them in I sent one in for me, I sent one in for my roommate, and I sent one in for my boyfriend. And so They called my roommate, and I called her up, and I was like, oh, my God, you got to call, and so she won $100. And then they called me, and I called in, and I won $100. And then the last day of the contest, they called my boyfriend's name, and he was out of town. And I thought, I just can't let this go. So I tried to get his brother to call. His brother wouldn't do it. I tried to get his brother-in-law, and he wouldn't do it. So I called up, and I made my voice like this, and I said, hi, this is Mike. And I'm doing this whole conversation, and Charlie was the radio DJ who has since become a friend of mine. And he's keeping me on the phone, and he's asking me, what do I do, and where did I go to school? And, it was just painful. It had to be painful for everybody listening because everybody had to know I wasn't a man. And finally, he couldn't get me to slip up, so Mike won the $100. Well, years later, we were at a concert, and they were doing the radio remote, and I walked over and said hi, and I said, do you remember that call? And he was like, I knew that was not a man. I knew it. He's like, that was you? I can't believe you do that. It's just, when and it's, to some degree, it's a disease, because sometimes you hear the sounder and you call, and it's not even something you want to win. But you just call because there's that urge, and it's a sounder, and it's time, and I know I can, and I just go call. My husband was like, Kathy, it's a CD. Now you're not going to be able to win for 30 days, and that thing you really want to win is going to come up, and you're going to be disqualified. And I'm like, man, you're right.
That's funny, because I think that sometimes. I think, I don't want to call in and win the tickets to, the little, the CD.
That's
I think
right.
I want to be able to qualify for the trip to Barbados or the cruise they're giving away.
That's right. And you get that kind of thinking where there are people who, the only thing they've ever won is a CD, and it's like a prize. It's like, my God, I want a CD. And I'm thinking, well, I want to go to, Hawaii again. or France or Italy or, something big.
So
Yeah,
now,
this
listen,
was-
my specialty is entering online. I'm a geek, I admit it. I love the Internet. I spend hours on the computer between work and play. I can sit here all day.
Yeah.
And, I only spend an hour or two actually contesting online, and I love it. So I have a system, and I organize it. Do you have a system for the radio? Is there certain stations you listen to, or do you float about, or do you have all the numbers plugged in, or have you got everything memorized, or what's your, how do you do it?
I don't technically have a system. I listen to the music that I like to listen to. So I'm not necessarily around the dial, although I have through the years had coworkers who would come in and say, we've got to listen to this station, and I'll think, and certainly no offense to any of the listeners who really enjoy rap music, I don't. And to listen to it all day in my office was grueling, but I did win the $1,000 prize, to the disdain and angst of my coworker, who was just like, I cannot believe you did that. But I don't really have a system. I listen to what I like, and once in a while somebody will call me. A good friend of mine called me and said, such and such a radio station is giving away Elton John tickets, and if you win us tickets, I'll buy us dinner. And the station was not in my town. It was in her town, and she lived, more than 100 miles away. So I said, well, why don't I come up and visit with you and spend the day with you, and I'll win the tickets while I'm there, and, we'll go when the concert comes around. And so she's like, okay, and on the way, the sounder rang, and I won the tickets before I was even halfway there. So I didn't even have to go all the way to her town. I called her up, and I said, I'm going to go to work today. I won the tickets, and I'll see you, and we'll go to the concert. And so I don't really, I think I pick the things that I want to win, and once in a while somebody will say, this is happening, can you tune in? And I really think that's it. Anybody who knows anything about the law of attraction knows that it's a vibration. It's an energy. And when you tune into it, one vibration reads another. And it's either going to be in harmony or discord. So if it's in harmony and it's there, then it happens. And trust me, anybody who contests or sweepstakes knows that we enter more contests than we ever win. So for every one I win, even though I win more than average, there's lots I don't win. And I think that's important to note that, that's part of you got to play. So I listen to what I like, and when there's something, that I really want to win and I put my mind to it, I do. And I do know the numbers of the radio stations that I listen to regularly. And it's maddening when I'm listening to an unfamiliar station and they're giving something away and I don't have the phone number. It's like torture.
So actually it's kind of interesting that we're talking about radio and the energy and the vibration, because Esther and Jerry Hicks talk about in a book called Ask and It Is Given about that exact thing you were just talking about. And they relate it to a radio station. And they say, well, you can't pick up, 104.5 if you're dialed into 99.9.
That's right.
It's impossible. You have to be on the right frequency. So you have to be in that. And the other person I'm listening to, and you're very much like Helene Hadsel, who wrote the Name It and Claim It game. And she has a spec method: select it, project it, expect it, collect it.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know, Colleen, but that is true. And, the thing about tuning into a certain frequency, I think the thing that people really miss is that you really are in charge of that. You really are in charge of what you're tuning into and what vibration you're putting out. I think a lot of people, I think victim is overused, but I think they tend to feel like, well, I feel how I feel, or my circumstances are what they are, and, how can I feel anything but bad? My house is being foreclosed. Well, you can feel great because your health is good and your kids are healthy and happy and you're happily married still, and it's just a house. Your home is anywhere you live together. So, I don't mean to belittle that. I work in the mortgage industry and I know how difficult that is right now, but I do know some people who are going through that very situation who keep a very upbeat attitude, and their attitude is, I have my family and we can live in a studio apartment, and that will be home, and that's just fine. So you do get to pick that, and whether it's contesting, finding your spouse, finding the job of your dreams, not working, whatever it is, you choose how you feel about it. And if you're very sincere in how you feel, that vibration will emit and it will draw other things that are like that to you.
Oh, it's a snowballs. This is, boy, you're good. Now you're doing Jack Canfield. This is the E plus R equals O, which is And you're going to tell me you don't listen to any of these people. So you are just tapped into the universe. E is event, like you said, the person, their house is being foreclosed. R, which you have no control over. R is your response to it, which you have complete control over. And he says, and that equals your O, which is your outcome.
Yeah.
And so if you're miserable and sad, you're just going to keep attracting more miserable and sad. And if you, even with poor circumstances, emit a positive vibration, things will turn around and probably much more quickly than had they not. And the other thing is people say, why did these kind of bad things happen, or why didn't I win that? And there's also more to the law of attraction. I mean, we did come as humans down to learn certain lessons. And I think sometimes those lessons override the law of attraction. You're going to learn this whether you like it or not.
It's true. I read a book that I really enjoyed called The Luck Factor.
I love that book.
Yes. I think the thing that's really key, talking about events and your response and the outcome, you can be in a situation and your attitude and what it is you are seeing and how aware you are. I mean, you can be so down and out and so bummed about whatever it is that you don't even see that you have somebody in your immediate sphere of influence who can offer you a very painless solution. Yet if your attitude is up and you're talking to these people and you're saying, hey, yeah, this is really the pits, and they go, you know what, I have, and I would love to have you have it or have it available to you. So if you're not paying attention and you're just looking either at the ground or behind you, you're not seeing all the doors that are continually opening and closing in front of you. And I have gotten to a point in my life, trust me, I've had some hard knocks and some tough lessons, but I've gotten to the point that even in a dark moment, I can immediately, with tears streaming down my face, say, what's coming? Something good is coming because this is really painful. And for me to have to see this door close or go through this kind of a lesson, there's something grand around the corner. And I'm literally almost like looking around the corner like, okay, where are you? And that's a choice. And it doesn't mean I don't grieve. It doesn't mean you don't, go through whatever emotion is appropriate for what you've just experienced. But it's all in how you're going to look at it and how long you're going to stay there. To grieve or to be angry or to be embarrassed or any of these emotions that are not necessarily pleasant, to feel those things is normal. To stay stuck in those emotions or feelings is not normal. It's normal to move up and down through that emotional tone scale, but to stay there is, that's where you get stuck and something's wrong.
Wow. I really like that. So this is how you can turn it around, and if you can look for that when you're down, then it'll help bring you back up. I've had a lot of people email me in the past and say when they really have bad things happening to them, they really look forward to contesting. These are the online people or the people that still do the mail-ins. That is their one happy place in the day where they go and they're like, okay, tuning everything out, and I'm going to sit and I'm going to have fun for a couple of hours. I'm going to do something I really enjoy. And that's what they do. And they sit there and I had someone tell me they don't sit in contests, they sit and win. I'm going to go win now.
That's right. Well, having faith, a lot of people attach a very religious meaning to the word faith, and you can if that's your belief system. But having faith that, one, you're okay, and two, that everything is going to continue to be okay and unfold the way it is supposed to unfold for you on your journey. To have that, again, knowing, to just know that, okay, this doesn't feel good right now, but, this is going to be good. And something's coming from this. Just to have that faith for me is a very, very comforting just to know that. And, enough experiences in life, you do, okay, this isn't the end of the world. Or to see an elderly person garden and to think, what have they been through in their lives? And this is all a thought as you're driving down the road. So it's a split second in time where it's like, I wonder what kind of hardship they've seen. And here they are, old and wrinkled and smiling. and finding so much pleasure in their flowers. And I look at that and I go, well, how bad can my life be? I mean, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get through this no matter how, difficult it is. But contesting is, and winning on the radio. I mean, I won today. And we were yelling and screaming in the office, and somebody outside, I work in a real estate office, somebody said, what was all that ruckus back there? And I was like, oh, my God, I won Bon Jovi tickets today. And they were like, I want to go. How do you do that? And again, we all know the answer is I intend to. I told my husband I was going to win.
Bon Jovi, how fun. Yeah, I entered that. I didn't win.
There's still time. Well, unless he's already come to your city. Then
they had all they had. They've come and gone, plus they had tickets to other cities. I didn't win those either.
Oh, well, you didn't have the right vibration.
No, but that's okay. I lose. I had to actually, Yahoo Finance interviewed me once, and they actually did the math. They worked it out that my wins work out to about $20 an hour.
Oh, my God. How cool is that?
I thought I never would have done the math to figure that out, but they figure that it's. But I say it's tough because you can't. I can't make my living winning unless unless I'd sold everything that I won, and that's no fun. I want to keep it.
How did they base that? How was it on a part-time?
On the value of the prize is versus the amount of time I spend, I guess.
Oh, so because I couldn't even tell you. I mean, at some points in time, I don't spend any time at all. At other points in time, I'm so plugged in, I could be doing this interview with you, and I could hear the sounder in the background, and I certainly wouldn't put you on hold, but I have put clients on hold. It's like, can you hold just 1 second?
I need to go in a car now, excuse me.
Well, if someone was calling to win a car, I would probably just leave you on the phone and say, okay, you guys got to hear this. But, no, my Facebook page, I posted that I won the Bon Jovi tickets, and Charlie Thomas, who is the DJ in Sacramento, great guy, he posted, he's like, am I surprised? No, he's not surprised.
That's fun.
Yes. It's fun, I have to say, it brings a lot of joy to our life, and you mentioned it earlier, we get to do things that we wouldn't normally get to do by winning some of these prizes because they're not things that we would spend our money on. But, more than anything, it really is just a bright spot in my life. And for me, I've been doing it enough years that, I have some really fun stories. And, I won in my sleep one time. And people are like, that's...
I did that too.
You did? Okay, tell me your story.
I was kind of pitch dark, and you ever have that half asleep state where you're not quite awake and you're still kind of asleep, and the radio goes on instead of the alarm, so you're listening to the DJ, and the DJ's kind of in your dreams.
Yes.
You're in that, and they had the sounder go, and I still to this day have no idea how I did it. In the pitch dark of our bedroom, I managed to reach over and grab the phone and dial and have it ring and be the ninth caller at
and give them your information.
6:30 in the morning, and the guy's saying, hi, and he says, you don't sound very excited. And I'm thinking, I'm literally trying to wake up. I'm like forcing, I'm trying to wake up, and it was so hard to try and wake up to sound excited that I'd won. We won tickets to Elton John and Billy Joel. They do that dual two-piano concert.
So fun, yes.
And the tickets are so expensive. Their tickets were $300 each.
Oh my God.
I won a set of tickets. Oh my God, it was an amazing concert. But I felt bad because I know they're excited people on the phone, and I could not wake up.
Well, you are the only other person I've ever known who has shared this with me. We are sisters. We
How
are
did you
sisters.
do yours?
Well, I woke up for work. My alarm went off, and my phone that was normally on my nightstand was on my floor. It was hung up, but it was on the floor. And when I saw it on the floor, I thought, that's weird. Why is my phone on the floor? And so I picked it up and I put it on the nightstand and I got in the shower. And I'm standing in the shower and washing my hair and I'm thinking, I think I won something on the radio last night. And it's sort of vague, but it's coming to me. And I'm like, I really think I won something on the radio. And I sort of had this very, very faint image of me leaning over the side of my bed with the phone on the floor, hitting the redial. And I couldn't shake it. And I went to work, and I told my coworker, I said, I think I won something on the radio last night. He's like, what do you mean you think? And so I told him what I just told you. I said, he goes, well, just because your phone was on the floor, maybe you knocked it off your nightstand and you hung it up. And I was like, no, I don't think so. I said, well, I'm going to go to the radio station. He said, well, and say what? I think I won? Yeah. So I drove down to the radio station and I said, I think I won something last night. And she said, what's your name? And I won an entertainment book at 1:30 in the morning.
In your sleep? Well, that's even better than being half awake. You were completely unconscious.
I was, and I heard, I was at that point in my life, I was sleeping with my radio on, and whatever I heard time to call, and I dialed and gave them all of my information and hung up and went right on sleeping.
Wow. Now that's a dedicated contester.
Well, that's called autopilot. That's
wow.
not even dedication, because I didn't go to bed that night saying, okay, I'm going to win something tonight. That's dedication.
Yeah, that's true. That's just autopilot. Wow, that's amazing. Yep. See, I don't think I would know the radio station number in my sleep, but that's amazing. I think I won something.
Yeah, I think I won. Those stories, they're a bright spot and they're fun, and they're going to be even more fun as I get old. It's one of these things where you have this special energy that you're just tuned into this thing, and it's not something everybody does, but I love learning when other people do. I love hearing their stories, and I love people like, oh, I win all this. I'm like, oh, God, let's go have coffee because I want to know. It's fun to connect like that and to know that you can. And for people who don't win, they really enjoy it because it's just like, really? Really?
Oh, we need to get you at the next convention. You'd be fun.
Oh, I would love to come. I would love to come. The neat thing is Intentional Winning in Life started as a book of these stories. And all these stories are written, and it's kind of fun because it starts out with, talking a little bit about Dave but not telling who he is. And the stories kind of weave together, and then it comes back around and it, talks about, winning Dave on the radio. But when it was all written and it was coming together, it wasn't as much fun to just read story after story after story. And they don't read as fun as they tell. So the book ended up becoming Intentional Winning in Life, which was much broader because as I was writing the book about winning contests, I started to see how, I won a Brighton contest with a love letter to my husband while he was in Iraq. And then when I submitted that contest, I knew I was going to win. And all these months went by after the contest ended, and they never called me, and I couldn't shake the fact that I knew I had won. And like 6 months later, they called me, and they said, we're so sorry that this was delayed, but there was this happened and that happened, and you're the winner. And I thought to myself, I knew it. I knew I was the winner. It was a national contest, but it's fun, but in that way, in the way that it just sort of, to read it is not as much fun as it is to tell it and share it. So I don't know if the book will ever actually be published or if it'll be a sidebar to the Intentional Winning anthology, which is what it's becoming now, Intentional Winning in Winemaking, Intentional Winning in, whatever it is. But that's how it all started.
Wow. That's awesome. I love that. And people can go we keep talking about intentional winning. If you go to Intentional Winning, you have two websites. There's intentionalwinninginlife.com, which is yours.
Yeah, and that's in development. That one's not done, but it's holding the space.
It's holding the space.
And
then there's intentionalwinning.blogspot.com, and that's actually where you want to go and subscribe to her blog so that you can, every time that Kathy makes a post, you'll get it, and you post about 3 times a week.
I do, and the thing about Intentional Winning, my blog, is that it's not just about contesting. It's really about the power of intention in life, and all the topics tend to be different. I'll post a famous quote, and I'll write something about why it resonates with me. I've currently launched a product that we're bringing to market, and so there's stuff on there about that and about how I've done things in that people said there's no way. You're just simply with deadlines, you'll never make this. And I did, and they're like, how did you do that? And it's like, you don't take no for an answer. It really comes from inside you and who you are. So Intentional Winning in Life is that. It's not just about winning contests or prizes. It's really about winning in your life. And with intention and with, integrity and with, these things that make it good and put a good vibration out so people want to talk to you. And They want to share it with you and, help enrich your life.
Yeah, Joe Vitale says that in The Secret, actually. He talks about it, and people say to him, well, how do you do that? And he says, well, intend it. He actually uses those words, intend it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And,
and I liked The Secret, but I didn't think they emphasized action enough. I thought they made it sound too much like you just think it and it materializes. And, I can think I'm going to win on the radio, but if I don't pick up the phone and dial and hang up and redial, I'm not winning. And I just think people need to take action.
You have to take action. That's actually, I saw John Assaraf, who was also in The Secret, talk after, and he said there was a couple of things left out of it, and one of it was what he called Goya, get off your ass.
Yep.
Take action. Action has to be taken.
Yep.
And, like for example, you're talking about writing a book. Well, it's not going to write itself. You can sit and wish and intend a published book all you want, but if you actually don't pick up your pen or type on your computer, it will never occur, no matter how much you sit and wish and dream and hope.
No, and you get people all the time who say, well, I just don't have time. And I always say to them, whether it's they want to know how I brought this product to market or, how I went on the radio or whatever it is, because people will say that to me, oh, you must have a lot of time on your hands if you can win on the radio. And I'll say to them, no, it's not that I have a lot of time on my hands, but I do make time. So, what time do you get up in the morning? Oh, I get up at 7. What time do you go to bed? I go to bed at 11. Okay, well, then get up at 6 or go to bed at midnight, or both. So that's either an hour extra a day or 2 hours, depending on how bad you want it. How bad do you want to make time to do this? Because I can tell you there's plenty of nights I didn't go to bed till 2 or 3 in the morning because I had something that really needed to get done to move my project forward, whether it was writing, whether it was my product, whatever it was, and that's Goya.
That is Goya. And I also remember, and we'll keep talking, but we'll tell people how to win the prize before the streaming goes off air, is that I always think, when I think I might not have enough time, that Oprah, Richard Branson, and Donald Trump all have the same 24 hours that I do.
That's right. That's right.
They don't have any extra time on this planet than I do.
It's all in how you choose to use it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's what we're going to do, just to let people know how to win, and then we can go back to talking. This is so interesting. If you would like to win a Wins Organizer donated by Savvy Sweepers, and that's savvysweepers.com, by the way, and they have all kinds of organizers, one for contests, one's for entries, one's for winning, one's for taxes. They have all kinds. You check out their website. Send an email to enterme@contestqueen.com. That's ENTERME @contestqueen.com. Make sure you have your name, address, and phone number in the body of the email. It just makes it so much easier to get you your prize if you're the intended winner. And put Savvy in the subject line. So it's enterme @contestqueen.com, name, address, and phone number in the body, and in the subject line put Savvy, and you'll be in for the draw. And my next guest, which will be on Monday, March 8th at 2 p.m., is Giancarlo Massaro. I know, I love that name. He sounds like a romance novel character. And he owns anyluckyday.com, and they have a contest a day on his website. And you can follow him on Twitter at anyluckyday. They give away a prize a day. So it's a great website to go to because they give something different away every day. So it's really neat. And so we're going to have him on in 2 weeks. So again, Savvy Sweepers to win the prize, and my next guest is maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Maybe it's Giancarlo Massaro. It's Italian though. I love it. He's going to be fun to talk to. So let's go back to the intention of winning, because it's so fascinating to me that you're taking your time and you're intending it and you are taking action. Now, is there anything else you're doing that you feel that people should know about, or anything else that you feel the secret left out that people should be aware of?
No, I really think it comes down to action, and you have to feel good about who and where you are. And no matter where that is, and if it's, this place that is low and you're struggling with right now, which I know a lot of people are with unemployment at record rates and the mortgage crisis where it is, you have to know that you're there for a reason, and it's not how low you go, it's how long you choose to stay there. So for me, I'm happy. I love my life. I'm happily married. I hate it when people say marriage is hard. It's just you got to work at it, and if you're not working at it, it's not worth it. My marriage is not hard. I married the right guy, and, we compromise sometimes, but it's not hard. It's easy, and I think part of that lightness, being able to recognize a tough time and say, okay, well, this is what it is for now. Let's get through it and move on. Teaching my son about not having can't in his vocabulary. You can do anything you want to do. And just having that attitude of gratitude, being so thankful. My husband told me early on in our relationship, he said, you are the most appreciative person I have ever met. And I think growing up in a very middle-class family, I had friends who were wealthy, and I saw families who had a lot of material wealth. And I didn't really know how to gauge wealth at the time. And so when they would invite me to go to their winter home or their summer home, I was so thankful that I got invited, and I wanted to do the dishes or pick things up because I wanted to be invited back. And some of that may just be who we are as people. It might be part of our character, but I think it can be, raised in our children, and I think you can learn it. And I think being grateful and being appreciative for your opportunities, creates an energy of lightness. And when you have that, people are drawn to you. They want to share in that energy, and they want to share in their light, and they want to friend you on Facebook because they want to, hear a fun post or see a quip. Or I posted something today about the mortgage business, about how I could make a great living in the circus because, sometimes these banks want us to stand on our head and balance on one foot and juggle and jump through hoops and put our elbow in our ear all at the same time, And if you don't have an attitude like that in a really tough job, it'll drive you down. It'll make you crazy. So I think it's all in how you perceive your life and how you choose to project. You can't project happiness and lightness if you don't really feel it inside yourself. And if you don't, find a way that you can, because I really believe you can, and I believe you can be happy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you have to choose it. So yeah, like again, it's the E plus R equals O, and you can make your own. The reason I teach people what I teach is because I think some stuff for some people is harder than other people, and you can choose to make your own fun. And I can't think of anything more fun than winning.
It's true.
But I make my own fun. I like the whole hobby. Like you had said, I don't win every time I call in, even though it sounded like it when you were winning the tickets for the bull riding, but to take your son to. But I lose actually 99% of what I enter. So I enter a lot to win my 5 to 15 every month.
No, you don't lose it. You just don't win it.
Well, no, I don't win it, but I like the whole hobby. I like to sit there. Yeah. I experimented. I had Helene Hadsel on my show one time, and for her, she would pick a prize that she wanted. She would find a contest that had it. She would focus on it, and she would win it. So she might enter only, 10 things a year. And she would just keep going and just, win those 6 things. And so she said, maybe I should do the same thing. So for the month of August, after I'd interviewed her, I cut out all the miscellaneous things I was entering. And I was miserable. And my wins actually, because I keep a spreadsheet, actually went down. And I thought, well, this is dumb. I like the whole hobby. I like sitting there dreaming about, all these different prizes. And I like, entering a lot. And sure enough, I started entering everything again. And my wins went up, and I thought, okay, I'm getting this. When it's fun for you, and it's how you are enjoying it, however that is, because you obviously, do better on the radio than I do. That's where your niche is, and that's where you're having the most fun. That's, I think, one of the reasons it's so successful for you. You might find doing what I do painful. You might be, oh, my God, how can she sit on the computer for 2 hours and do that every day? That's crazy.
No, I did that. I did that for a while, and I subscribed to some, sweepstakes newsletters and looked at some of these things, and I've done the, filling out the cards and doing the mail-in entries and all of that. I don't know what makes the radio so successful for me other than, number of times over equals certainty. And you win enough times at something and it builds your confidence, which increases your vibration, which, you can do it. I think that for me, that's the radio. I have entered some contests on the internet, and I haven't seen the same kind of success, so it doesn't motivate me as much to go back and do it. Although I bet if I put my mind to it, I could probably see some more success and, apply the numbers. Say it's like sales. Sales is numbers. And I acted. I did some commercial acting for a while, and I remember my very first rejection letter from an agent. I was so excited to get it. My roommate was like, how can you be excited? It's a rejection letter. I said, because I only have 98 more to go, and somebody's going to say yes. She was just looking at me like, you are crazy. And I was like, I know, but, there's a degree of no's or a degree of not winning until you get the yes or you get the win. And you can't take it personally. You have to look at the process and enjoy the process. For better and for worse, enjoy the process, because that's what makes it fun. And just like you say, the dreaming, the thinking about it. I'm going to win this trip, and it's going to be like this when we go, and, this is how it's going to be. And certainly when you don't win, it's like, oh, man. But it's right away to the next one. So you're not down for even, a split second before you're excited, because you're looking ahead again. You're looking at that next thing. You're taking that next action, and when you have a full life, when you have, your whatever the things are in your life. For me, it's my marriage, it's my family, it's my budding business, it's winning on the radio. When you have all those things, how can you stay down? Too much good around you.
So that's it's you gotta pick yourself up and dust yourself off. And what is it? It's not. Who quote? They say you should never quote somebody unless you can remember who said it, but it's not important how many times you fall off the horse, it's how many times you get back on the horse.
Yes. Well, I love this hobby. I love when it's on the radio. I love grocery store contests because they tend to be small and people tend to not take the time to put their entries in. I once won a barbecue and I was so excited. It was charcoal. It wasn't all that, but the fact that I won was so cool. I've recently been doing recipe contests because I'm a baker. And so I've been, playing with some of my recipes, and I won we have a Mandarin festival. Placer County is known for our mandarins. And I made a cranberry mandarin oatmeal cookie. And my secret ingredient was Grand Marnier. And I was so amazed because there was something like 89 entries in the dessert category, and I came in third. I could not believe I won. But it was so fun making the cookies and taking them in and hanging around the festival waiting for the judging. And, it's cliche, but it's not necessarily the win as much as it is the journey. And, yes, it is fun to win, and winning is more fun than not winning. But there's still a lot of fun in the anticipation of the dream.
Wow. So you still came in third, though.
I did.
They must be really good cookies.
I was amazed. Actually, I think that that cookie recipe and the pictures of the cookies are in my Intentional Winning blog. I think they're back in November. And the recipe, because it's
okay. Well, you know what? I'll look it up and I'll put the link for everybody.
Yeah, if it's not there, let me know, because it's going to be in my personal blog. But I'll send you the link either way, because they are very good cookies. But it was an opportunity to be involved in the contest. And I won $25 and got my name in the newspaper, and I couldn't have been happier.
Yeah, and everyone probably enjoyed your cookies.
Oh, they did. And that's my forte. I was a cake decorator and a baker in a former life. So, that's what I did for a living for a long time. So now doing it as a hobby, it's very fun. And to turn it into the whole contest thing, why didn't I do that sooner? It never occurred to me to enter like the bake-offs or the cook-offs or whatever. But now that I'm doing it, that's way fun.
Oh, well, you got to empty the Pillsbury. I know some people at the conventions that have actually become finalists in the Pillsbury Bake-Off.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to get in this loop. I'm missing out.
I'll put the link in. I always have a thing for the convention. The convention moves every year. If anybody's listening and they want to know more about this convention, for the last 21 years, there has been an annual Sweepstakers convention held in the U.S., and it started because there's various clubs across the United States. And it's people get together once a month, once every 2 weeks, somebody's home or a local restaurant or the library or some gathering spot. They talk about the hobby, they trade ballots, which is disappearing because everything's headed online, but they'll give tips and tricks, or they'll share, hey, this radio station's doing this one, and if your name is called, so I'll listen to radio station A and you'll listen to radio station B, and then we'll call each other if, one of us wins, that kind of a thing. And so they share the hobby and they try to help each other win. And so 21 years ago, they said, we should have a bigger gathering. We'll get more clubs together and we'll have a little convention. And there was like 60 people that came to the first one. And I think it's going to be passing 1,000 for this year's. And it's in Bloomington, Minnesota this year. And the link to it is on my website. And it's the 21st one. And it's just so fun being in a room. The first one we went to was in 2005, and Kathy, you can relate to this. We walked into the room, and I've always felt like a duck out of water. I never seemed to fit in anywhere. And we're in this room with 600 fellow contesters, sweepers. And I turned to my husband and I said, oh, my God, I love it here. We're coming every year. I was in a room. When is it? It changes times based on the cost because we try to keep it as cheap as possible. So this year it's from September 1st to September 5th, or is it the 2nd to the 5th? And it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so it's Thursday night, and then it's all day Friday, all day Saturday, morning Sunday of the Labor Day weekend this year. And it's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited. I bought my ticket back in, November.
Oh, it sounds like a ball.
It is, and they give away prizes and they have speakers. If you're going to come, we're going to end up making you speak, you know that.
Well, I don't have any problem doing that. I think everybody can tell I'm not shy.
And it is quite an event. So for anybody that's listening that loves this hobby, that has never been to a convention, it's a must. I cannot describe to you the energy of, 600 or 500 to 1,000 people, like-minded people who are all into winning and all into having fun. I swear there's less screaming at a rock concert. You should hear the sounds and people, because they give away tons of prizes.
I could totally imagine it. I could totally imagine it. I know what it's like when I hook up or I meet somebody by chance who's, a winner. I call we're winners. We're not contesters, we're winners. And, just is like back and forth, blah, 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 blah. We're finishing each other's sentences, and David's just like, okay, I'm out of here. You two go. It's just, I can imagine. And that's two people.
Yeah, and that's two people. Now times it by 1,000. And it's incredible, the energy. And what's neat is sometimes I'll meet somebody, and I've had other contesters tell me this, or winners, sorry. Let me change my language. I like your term better.
That's right.
I'll talk to other winners, and, they'll talk to people, and their eyes glaze over. They don't want to hear about the next prize or something. And when you get in this community, everyone's like, what did you win? Oh, my gosh, that's so cool. They're not jealous. They're happy for you.
Yeah.
And they want to know. And then, again, you trade secrets. Oh, well, you know what I did for this one? I made sure that I went in every day and, entered at 3 o'clock in the morning because that was, when they were giving away the most instant prizes or some crazy tip. And this is the kind of stuff we share. And only someone else who, enters at our like we do, will understand, waking up in the morning and realizing you've won something in your sleep because that's just what you do.
No, I thought I did. I wasn't sure.
Well, you did, though. That's great.
That whole power of intention, people just really, they have to understand that that's real. And anybody who's ever tried to get Oprah tickets, they've gone to a different system now, but anybody who's tried the dial-in system knows that it's darn near impossible. I mean, frankly, it's just darn near impossible. And I told my girlfriend, I said, we're going to go see Oprah, and this is what we have to do. When that window opens, we have to all have a time that we're going to call for, if it's an hour, you have to just stay on it. And so we did it the first month, and the next month they didn't want to do it. Oh, it takes too much time, this and that. And I said, what, we're going to Oprah. And I would sit there, and I would dial and dial and dial. Of course, I'm sitting alone in my office, and the phone rings. And I'm thinking I'm going to get the, we're sorry, all circuits are busy. And this woman says, hello, this is so-and-so with Harpo Studios. May I ask who's calling? And I look around the room, and I'm all by myself, and I'm like, hello? And she's like, yes, this is so-and-so, Harpo Studios. May I ask who's calling? But this is Kathy. She's like, we're booking for da-da-da-da-da-da. And I just started screaming. And she's like, ma'am, are you okay? I'm like, I can't believe you answered the phone. I can't believe I got through. And she started laughing. She goes, people are usually mad because they don't like the process. I'm like, how can they be mad? You answered the phone. And we did. We flew to Chicago and we saw the Oprah show. And to this day, people say to me, I can't believe you did that. We have tried for years, every month to get through. But again, you simply make the decision that it's going to happen and you take the action. And in my belief system, ultimately it's going to happen. And I'll have to call you back when I win my Regis and Kelly trip because I'm going to win it.
Oh, for sure. I should have a show with all just, hey, everybody call me in who's won, and we'll just go over the wins. We'll have a winning show.
Oh, my God. Wouldn't that be the coolest thing to somehow document, all the, I mean, you can't do the CDs because that list would just be ridiculously long. But like the, substantial prizes. I guess you'd have to qualify what's substantial. That would be fun, though.
Well, what I find interesting is I was entering a lot of Olympic contests, and so was my husband, and he really wanted to go to the Olympics. I was like, I don't know. It's a lot of people. I don't know what we're going to be doing. I was kind of umphy on it. But he apparently would sit in his office, and because we work from home, so he has his base office in the basement. He would sit at his desk at night because he's a night owl, and he would close his eyes and he would, envision and intend to go to the Olympics. And so he was entering the ones on Coke, and he was figuring that he was going to win that one. Well, I'd been entering something else, and he won. His name was picked in a contest I entered.
Okay.
For 4 of us to go to the Olympics. But he intended it, and I didn't know. And I was kind of like, oh. Turned out we ended up buying all these winter clothes that we didn't end up needing because Vancouver was so warm.
Oh, how funny.
So we didn't pack any of them. I was so excited because I'd won a $2,000 Sport Check gift card in the summer, knowing that we all needed new coats, boots, the whole family. We needed all new winter gear. It was, a desperate situation. And so we won that, and I was so happy, and I'm like, this is great. We're going to go to the Olympics. I'm going to wear all my new gear. I even bought extra ski pants just in case we got stuck up on the hill watching the skiers. And we ended up in Vancouver, so I didn't take anything that I had won.
Oh, how
I wore my raincoat because the next night we were there, it was pouring rain.
Oh, but you win. How
but it was awesome. But it was awesome, and it was funny, and it wasn't as, it's interesting, your experience versus your perception. It was crowded, but it wasn't as crowded as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be scary amounts of people. It wasn't. It was just busy. I would label it busy. And it was like Las Vegas landed on Vancouver because it was more lights than I've ever seen in that city, ever. And it was a lot of fun. So now we sat there, and while we were talking, we decided this was a lot of fun. Let's do it again. So we were like, when's the next Olympics? We're like, 2012. Where is the Summer Olympics? London, England. I'm like, awesome. We're going to the Summer Olympics in London, England. So we're already intending from now
awesome
to win to go to London in 2012.
I have no doubt you'll go. I have no doubt you'll go. That's awesome.
That'll be fun. So what now, besides your husband, let's take let's take him out of the equation because, that's not really fair. What's the second best thing you've won?
Gosh. The trips are good, but I think the next top on my list was lunch with George Clooney.
That is totally beyond the top of my list. Wow.
Lunch with George Clooney was very, very fun, and Don Cheadle was there too. That was before Don Cheadle was famous, but George Clooney was just as nice as he could be, and there were a couple of other winners. It wasn't a big group, but he came to everybody's table, and he sat down, and he visited, and, I mean, he was just as nice as can be, and it's so funny because the picture of me with George Clooney, I look like this schoolgirl. I mean, my face is so wound up, excited, smiling. I look at it now, and, you know, you have to smile because you can see the excitement, but on the other hand, it's like, what a dork.
Wow. That is up. See, now this is one thing I like to tell people. It's great. You can win the CDs, you can win the concert tickets. But those things, if you really, really wanted them, you would find a space in your budget for them.
Right.
Right?
Right.
What I like are the prizes that money can't buy. You could not eat. You know, you could not buy, well, maybe at some point, maybe if you're like Richard Branson, you could buy lunch with George Clooney. But,
right.
You know, most of us don't fall into that category. So you can't buy lunch with George Clooney. You have to win those prizes.
Yeah, that was really fun. And, you know, the funny thing is, all my girlfriends wanted to go, and, of course, I was single at the time, and so was he, and I'm like, I am so not taking another woman. Are you nuts? I am taking my biggest, bulkiest male friend. Mike was like, you only took me so George Clooney wouldn't hit on me? I'm like, absolutely. If there was a snowball chance in you know where that he and I were going to make a connection, I wasn't going to have one of my hot best friends sitting next to me. No way.
Yeah, and since you're married to Dave, I'm going to guess there was no connection between you and George.
Well, there was no connection. I mean, it was one of those things where, sadly, he was very polite, he was very kind, but he was doing a job. He was not looking for a wife.
Yeah, well.
That's okay. It was still my second best prize ever.
Wow. That's awesome. Do you have posts of that with the pictures?
I do. You know what I'll do? I'll go home tonight. I have to pick my son up here in about 15 minutes. I'll go home tonight, and I'll send you a couple of links to those specific pages. You can see the picture of me and George Clooney, and maybe I'll just do a post of some of those things, and I'll make it really easy. And I'll just put it up there.
And we've gone over our time, but this was way too much fun not to keep talking. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to have to come up to California now. You know, you realize that.
Hey, girl, you come. I got a studio apartment below my house that we call, Casa de Partac. You guys come on over and come see the Sierra foothills. We're 2 hours from the ocean. We're an hour from the mountains. We live in a great place in California. There's lots to see and do, and my door is open. Open invitation.
Yeah, not to everybody listening, by the way. Just
to you.
Just me. You're going to get strangers knocking on your door. Hi, I heard you on the radio.
This is what happens. This is what happens to those reality TV people, and they forget the cameras are there.
So we're going to stop it here. So I'm going to thank you so much for being my guest today, because this is I just loved having you on. You were a really bright spark today, and this is just wonderful. And remember, you can find out more about intentional winning at intentionalwinning.blogspot.com. And thank you for tuning in to With the Contest Queen, where the winning begins.